It was kind of cool to be able to see a behind the scenes look of a lot of how this works.
Thank you. 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 Thank you.
Oh my God. Is she crazy?
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, too many thank yous. It's about 20. That must be 35.
Traveling from India
Yeah,
to
good.
California with an unshakable dream to be the scientist.
How many people are watching?
Can we tell how many, Dan? How many people are watching?
She's talking about how great San Francisco was before she destroyed it. A lot of talk about childhood. We've got to get to the border, inflation, and crime.
He's not proposing a single policy, not one policy proposal.
Harris's biography won't lower your prices at the grocery store.
Or at the pub.
Out there putting veterans out on the street, so
33,000 homeless veterans.
Gotcha. Okay, say these out. The things of which she complains. Things of which she complains.
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man.
You hear that, Phil?
The consequences.
It's great, right?
The consequences.
Ready? These prosecutions were all started by her and Biden against their political opponents. Me. Get that out right away.
Have of caravans heading to the border, people showing up to the border with Biden-Harris t-shirts.
Off the mob. Off the mob.
Everything we have of people swarming the border.
She paid bail for rioters in the Minnesota Freedom Fund.
She paid and raised bail. She paid bail to get the violent rioters in Minnesota out of jail.
Tim Walz let Minnesota burn. Kamala Harris burned out the ones who lit the matches.
Put it in there. Put it right in with the stuff, huh?
With that hook,
He would use the immense powers.
You could do it either that or separate.
say more lies, lying about the Project 2025.
Oh, lying against Project 25, which she knows, and so do all Democrats, that I have absolutely nothing to do with.
She says we all know what a second term will look like. We can say yes. No inflation, secure borders, the best economy in the history of the world, peace.
She said chart a new way forward. Turning a new way.
Chart a new way forward.
She's done nothing but harm.
I think we have a graphic about black earnings being down 6%. If we haven't already hit that, let's hit that one.
She's talking about the middle class, but she's the one that broke the middle class and made it unsafe.
She wants to give free Social Security and Medicare to illegals, bankrupting the system. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are extremists on abortion, and abortion up to the moment of and after birth.
What would you say to a woman in Mississippi who's having to carry a child to term that has died in the fetus or has a serious fetal abnormality? That's how it'll come at you in the debate. But it'll be someone in a red state enduring that.
We have the exceptions.
Right, that's the right answer.
Democrats are the extremists.
Democrats, Republicans, liberals and conservatives wanted Roe v. Wade terminated and brought back to the states. Four stories that she is making up, but I've never even heard of.
I heard her say contraception, and I heard her say birth control.
Do not limit access to birth control or IVF, but I've never even heard of.
I heard her say contraception, and I heard her say birth control.
Do not limit access to birth control or IVF. That is a lie.
Well, we trust women.
I trust women also,
To restore reproductive freedom.
and I will keep women safe.
Of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law.
She won't, because the millions pouring into the invasion of our country at her open border are destroying the lives of women and the families of African Americans and Hispanics.
That bill that legalizes illegal abortion.
And is a total disaster, weak and ineffective. Close the border. She just called to give all illegals citizenship. Say goodbye to the USA.
Trump, on the other hand, threatened to abandon NATO.
NATO wasn't paying their bills. I saved NATO. She hates Israel. You got it, Dan?
How many troops have you put out there?
How many
About
men?
40. She's complaining.
Has she said anything on China?
Has she mentioned fracking?
Kamala Harris is a threat to democracy.
She will take us into World War III and nuclear war.
She will take us into a nuclear World War III. So,
Thank you. God bless you, and may God bless the United States of
oh,
America.
wow. She didn't mention China. She didn't mention fracking. She didn't mention energy. She didn't mention Russia and Ukraine, right?
50 to 60 million people in poverty in the United States right now, under their watch. They put these people in poverty. They're doing nothing about it, not even talking about it. Some of these people can't even eat, for
There's
God's
60
sake.
million people in poverty in the United States right now.
Under their watch.
And she doesn't even talk about that.
I said after he and Martha start talking, call in after like a minute or two after Brett and Martha start going.
I want to use a hard line. Much better. Hard line is so much better.
Phone's on quiet. Make sure phone's on quiet.
Turn your phones
Sir,
off.
they're ready for you in 1 minute.
Joining us now by phone, the 45th President of the United States, former President Donald Trump. Mr. President, thank you for joining us. You were truth socialing along this speech. What is your first reaction to it real time tonight?
Well, the biggest reaction is, why didn't she do the things that she's complaining about? All of these things that she talked about, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do everything. But she didn't do any of it. She could have done it 3.5 years ago. She could do it tonight by leaving the auditorium and going to Washington, D.C. and closing the border. She doesn't need a bill. I didn't have a bill. I closed the border. There was a lot of complaining. She's raising taxes. She's going to give a tax increase. She didn't talk about any of that. What they're going to do is pick up and move to another country, like the pharmaceutical industry or the immigration. It's very simple. The bill was horrible. We're doing very well in the polls. We're leading in most of the polls. In the swing states, we're leading in almost every one of them. As far as RFK, I've had a great relationship with him over the years. Look, he was treated very unfairly by the Democrats. In the end, the Democrats did the same thing to Joe Biden. They threw Joe Biden out of the party.
And that's why we saw a different night tonight.
Mr. President, thank you so
very
much
sir.
for the time.
Okay, thank you very much.
I don't think you will ever see that on the Democratic side. They've made it very clear that they are huge on spreading a lot of false, fake narratives. And I tell you, it would be very interesting to watch the Democratic side actually release something like that. That's what I love about the Donald Trump's team and their administration. It's like transparency. Well, obviously, they're not going to be transparent about everything, but tell me, during a presidential election season, that you've ever seen a behind-the-scenes look at the strategies that they're doing to try to come against the lies and put information out there based on what the other candidate is saying. This is the first time I've ever seen it, behind the scenes look, and I love that. I mean, I've heard Donald Trump talk about how he's going to declassify the Epstein tapes and a lot of other things that people have been wondering about and are curious about. I'm telling you, for me, I pray a lot of this stuff gets exposed. One thing I know is that what's done in the dark always comes to light, and the Bible talks a lot about when you bring light to things, it makes the darkness flee. And I pray that he's able to bring a lot of light to a lot of the darkness that has been going on in our own government for the last 100 plus years. It's beyond time, y'all, for this crap to come out and for it all to come to a halt. And like I've said before, I'm glad Trump didn't get in 2020 for whatever reason, whether it was cheating or I believe it was cheating. Especially now when you look at the numbers for this election, you have several people questioning, like, where's these other 8 million votes that Joe Biden got in 2020? It's this kind of crap. How many have you ever had like a gut feeling about somebody or a gut feeling about something that just doesn't seem right? usually that gut feeling or that sixth sense in your mind, you know how they say, follow your first mind? Usually your first mind is your spirit mind. It's usually the mind that what's really going on. And I'm telling you, I felt it in 2020 like a lot of Americans here. And if you just look back, I think a lot of people are waking up and their eyes are getting open to the crap, or should I say the wool being pulled over a lot of our eyes for a lot of years. And I'll be the first to admit it again. I was one of those sheep. I was asleep. And I give credit to my wife because she helped open my eyes to a lot of the garbage that was going on. If you go back to 2020 with them trying to push that on people, I'm telling you, it's time for it all to stop. And I'm thankful that Donald Trump got in there. And all I can do is pray for those who are still asleep. It's sad. Like I've said before, we're all entitled to our own opinions and we all have our own experiences and things like that, and I get it. But again, I pray people continue to wake up. It's time to wake up.
And I'm sure you will all agree there are things that need to be done in this country today. But listen very carefully and see what you can do to lend a hand. Wake up, everybody. Wake up, everybody. Wake up, everybody. No.
I love you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll check you on the next one. Later.